We're here today with Stephen Depriest, who deals in Pueblo pottery, and we're going to talk primarily about contemporary pottery. This is for one of our Kroz Byte sections. So this is Stephen Depriest and my husband, Bing Crosby. So how and when, Stephen, did you get started in Pueblo pottery?
I hate to mention it. It's about 40 years ago. My dad was a traveling salesman, and he was also an Indian trader, and so he would go on these trips, and of course I was left at home, and he would throw a $100 bill and he said, buy something while I'm gone. And as you can imagine, some of my buys were not all that great, but I learned from trial and error, and that's how I got started, and I began to appreciate Indian art, especially in pottery. But
Bing, when did you and Stephen meet, Bing?
Oh, we must have met, 30 years ago?
something like that.
35 years ago, and have been friends ever since. I've dealt in Pueblo pottery. When I need to know something about a particular potter, or I'm looking for a special piece for a special customer, I always call Stephen and give him a heads up, and normally sooner or later Stephen comes up with it, and he's happy to sell it. I'm happy to please a client of ours, and so we just keep dealing in nicer pieces of Pueblo pottery.
Stephen, how many pueblos are in New Mexico and Arizona that make pottery, and what is the distinction of each pueblo?
Well, in New Mexico there are 19 individual pueblos. Unfortunately, only about 12 of them are producing pottery at this time. With the advent of the new casinos and different things, some of the young people have gone into other aspects of work. But we try to really cultivate the 12 that are still going, and they're producing some fine pottery at this time. Arizona has a couple of other ones, primarily Hopi being the big one.
And you deal with that as well?
Yes. Yeah, that's a 5-hour trip to come in here to sell, but they get up early, about 4 in the morning, and make the trek, and we usually get them out of here by noon.
Are there any of the particular pueblos that are your favorites?
Oh yeah, I guess I'd have to say that I particularly like the black and red pottery, so Santa Clara, because they use some of the more traditional methods to produce their stuff. San Ildefonso is good. I like Acoma. Everyone's heard of Sky City and the work that comes out of there. And I would say those are probably the cream of the crop there. Although there are fine artists in almost every pueblo, but those produce some of the finest artists around right now.
Do you feel like the artist transcends to their pueblos?
Well, for years, if you go back about 20-30 years, most of the artists tended to stay in the traditional venues of that pueblo. But I would say in the last 15 to 20 years, some of the artists have really broken out. They've been influenced by so many things that have caused them to be very innovative. And I mean, their techniques are different, the painting's different. Some of those you have to really say, now, this artist is from this pueblo, it should look like this, but it looks completely different. So there are some of those that are doing very innovative pieces right now that are not like the traditional pieces produced for hundreds of years.
Well, that's very exciting, I would say.
I think so.